Hey programmers, let's take a look at Ember.js and let's see if we can get it working with our Phoenix backend. Let's take a look. Okay, last time we had talked, we were looking at our Phoenix application and we had created a quick backend from it and then we deployed it to Heroku. We're not going to worry about Heroku right now, but we're going to look at our Ember app right now and then we're going to look at Vue.js. So if you guys were looking for Vue, just wait, I'll have it up soon. So here is an empty Ember app. I haven't done anything with it yet. You could see here it's running in port 4200 and it seems to be working, which is good. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of this. So we're going to go to our template, application, delete the welcome page. And then we're going to also go into our node package, JSON, and we're going to delete the welcome page here because we just don't need it. And now we have nothing. So let's make a link back to home just to make sure everything's working. So the link to, we'll call it home, and we'll call this application. This is just a real simple link to helper. So if you look in the documentation for Ember.js, you can see how to create links, and this just tells it that this is a link back to this, the application route, which is the default route. So here's our home, and we'll make it h1, and we'll delete that. Just make it home. We're not going to use any libraries here or make it look nice. In later videos, I'll add some CSS and add some, make it look nice. So we're just going to have a real basic template here, and then later on we're going to go and make it look nicer. So let's use the command line here. So you can see here, Ember G, we're going to create a route called posts, and the post route is going to be the route where we show everything. We're going to show all the posts, and right now we only have one. So we just want to make sure this one shows, and the most important parts of this is we have a title, body, and author. So let's see if this works. Okay, so we have our route now, and let's create a model. And so this is all part of Ember's generator, which just helps us create scaffolding, so we don't have to create all these files for ourselves. It's just easier, so we don't have to create the boilerplate. So we're going to go Ember G model. We're going to create a title, which is a string. We're going to create a body, which is a string, and then an author, which is string. So we're going to type all that in. And I forgot one thing. We forgot the name of the model. So we're going to call the model posts. Post. Oops. With a space. There we go. So let's see what we got here. So we got our posts here. There's nothing in it. So we'll just call this, put an H2 tag, doesn't matter. We'll call it list of posts. So all this route's purpose is to list the posts. And we're going to go back to our router. You can see it created this the posts route that we need. And if we go back to our model, so now we have this model that has title, body, and author in it. So those are the three values that match our Phoenix backend. So what we want to do here in our routes is the routes is responsible for the model. So we can actually return the model from the routes. And then you'll have access from the model in the posts template as well. And I'll show you how that works. So we want to return this.get. We're going to get the store. And then we're going to do a find all. And that should be it. And we just need to make sure we write the name of the find all, which will be posts. So what this is saying is when you retrieve the model, you're going to get it from the store. You're going to use the find all post. And if you look in the API for Ember and look at Ember Data, we can kind of see how that works by looking at the store. The DS store here, you can see it here. scroll over a little bit. But this kind of explains how this works, in that by convention, the store is available throughout the application. I mean, not inside components, but it's available in all your controllers. And you can get and in your routes, and you can get the store, and since we're using Ember Data, we're going to grab all the posts, which does the posts here. And what this will do is it'll do an HTTP request to our backend to post to localhost or whatever we set it for. In this case, it'll be 4200, and then it'll do /post. And actually, I'm sorry, HTTP get, which will do HTTP localhost 4200 post, and then from there it'll get the information that we need. So let's take a look at that. So let's see if it works. And if we remember, we have in our Phoenix background, we created some routes already for us. So we should have posts, but it's actually in our backend, it's API/post. So we need to create an adapter to do that. So we'll go Ember G adapter, and we'll call it post. And this will only be affecting our posts, but actually we could probably do it for the application so everything goes through it. So let's do that instead. Let's do Ember G adapter application. And so this will apply through the whole program. So now we have our adapter, so we'll just use, let's see here. Yep, we'll do application here, and we'll go ahead and use something called namespace. And we'll call API, and then that'll make sure that we have the correct place here. And I'll just delete the post for now, adapter. So now when we do it, we should be HTTP localhost 4200 API post, which is what we want. So let's see if first we can just navigate between these two. So I'm going to go back to our application. We're going to go back to our templates, and we're going to create a link to our post in here. So we'll just go like this, link to, call it posts, and this will link to post. And then we'll see what happens. Let's Ember S, so that goes ahead and serves it for us. So we'll have it back in 4200. And that'll take a second. Still loading. So it always takes a second. There we go. There we go. Here's our home. So we have that. So let's take a look here. We'll inspect real quick. We have an error. Ember error, link to post but not pass the parameters. You attempted to find a link to post but not pass the parameters required for generating a dynamic segments. There's no one route named post. So we actually had a typo here. This is actually posts. There's an S at the end. So here's posts. Still not working. So let's see what the next error is. Okay, so now what it's telling us is that when we go to API posts, it's trying to do a HTTP GET request to API post, and it comes up with an error because it's not there. And we're not mocking anything right now, so it's not working. Now you're probably thinking, well, yes, we do have a server running right here, right? API posts, but this is actually running in port 4000, and so they're not talking together. So we can fix that. So we can Control C here. And we can do -- proxy equal, and then we'll put in HTTP localhost 4000. And what that tells Ember is that to proxy, when we try to get an API posts, we're actually doing import 4000 instead. And it's just good for testing. So let's take a look. So hit posts. All right, great. So we got a list of posts here. And we haven't defined anything in our model yet, but we at least can get to the route now. We're not getting any errors. If we inspect it, yep, no errors here, which is good. And if we go back to our Phoenix, you can see here that it actually did process it, and it went ahead and it did the query for us, so it should have showed. So let's go back and let's take a look. So let's we're going to create a component called list posts, and this is just good practice to do this. So we're going to go back to our component here, and we're going to we're going to do an each helper model as post. And what I'm doing here is we're going to pass in the model into this component, and then we're going to display the posts. So let's do post.title, post.body, and post.author. And just for the heck of it, we'll just, like I said, I'm not doing any CSS. It's going to look awful, but we just want to make sure it talks to our back end right. Oops. H1. I'm going to do this. And we'll make this, I don't know, H2. Oops. There we go. And then finally, we'll do H2 here. Actually, you know what? I'll do an EM. And then we got to close our each. Of course, that's not going to change anything because we haven't done anything yet. And we do have an error here. Status with a 404 error because we did not return anything from API posts. So we will get to that in a second. Let's go ahead and go back to our posts, and we're going to go ahead and add in the list posts component. We're going to save it. And then we're going to pass in the model. So we're going to call model equals model. Okay. So localhost 42 and API posts. We actually didn't start the server correctly. Let me add the proxy again. That should fix that error. Let's see. All right, there it is. So now we know we're talking to our backend. We have our home, we go to posts, we have list of posts, we have a test title, this is the body, and error can't. So it got all the stuff from our Phoenix server right here, test title, this is the body, error can't. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. This is just a real quick primer. On our next episode, we'll go into how to create posts, and we're going to find out our Phoenix backend has a little problem that we're going to fix with it. So we'll get that into the next episode. Thanks. If you like these type of videos, please leave a comment below and like and click the subscribe button. That really helps me out. Thanks and have a great day.